Welcome to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. This is your number one crypto podcast to hear directly from the movers and shakers, innovators, and disruptors in the cryptocurrency industry. Follow on Twitter for updates and to communicate directly at Woof Big Dawg. That's at Woof Big DAWG. Now, here is your host, the one and only Big Dawg Crypto.
And welcome to the latest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. I'm your host, Big Dawg Crypto. Very special guest who I've followed for a while. Very, very interesting guy in this space, Coach K Crypto. How are you doing?
Doing great. Let me put my my classic glasses on. You know,
I like that.
I've paid way too much from these bad boys. They're really helpful for all the time I look on the charts.
Now wait a second. Are these the glasses that enable you to see when Bitcoin's going to make the high?
Yeah, they're my, they're like my Mike sneakers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting time to have you on. I mean, we are. Looks like the markets are changing a bit from bear to bull. I want to start right into it. Everybody says win bull market. What are your thoughts on it as far as where we are, right now? And is it starting? Are we in it? What are your thoughts?
Bull market is fully started, man. Like I've told people pretty much last December, it feels like forever ago now, that if we didn't bottom out and make a new low in December of 2022, that we'd likely have seen the bottom. I officially called the bottom, I think in January. I did that on Twitter. I posted that recently, so if anyone wants to go look and confirm that, you can. Also, one of the people that called the tops and tried to get everyone out of the market when the market was ready to kind of throw up and basically puke on everyone. And basically, the last video that I did in the bull market or the bear market when it just started was telling people to get the F out. Like the market's not going to go back up. We're going to go down. And then from that video on, we literally went straight to 15K, whatever, 15.6. So we're in the bull market, and the bull market is not decided by me. It's not decided by you. It's not decided by people's feelings and emotions. It's decided by the technical analysis on a daily chart. And this is why I trade the way I do. This is where my alpha comes from. Like, everyone thinks I'm a genius. I do look at different factors than probably a lot of traders, which makes me a lot more accurate, but I'm no genius, and neither do you have to be a genius to be a good trader. So I think it's a misconception that people think you have to be like some crazy alpha brain to be able to be trader. No, you have to be able to control your emotions, to not get too high or too low, and be able to roll with the punches as the things happen and know what you're going to risk before you do it. And then looking at a bigger perspective of where are we at in the market? Well, when I look at the chart, I see Bitcoin. I go and look at it and I go, all right, where's Bitcoin at? Well, Bitcoin is far above the cloud now. At this point, we're far above the cloud. We've been holding this line around 34,600. It seems like it doesn't want to break that. And we're kind of flagging into potentially going a lot higher. And it reminds me a lot of last cycle in October. It looked like a rising wedge, and then it broke out and went even higher. I think we're right in that same type of spot right now. We just need to break that 35,900 level. And then honestly, I think we're going to go straight up to in the 40s. So that's really where I see it. There's a lot of resistance in the 42 to 44 range. And I think that's something that we'll have to break out before we really get to something bigger. But as for where we are in the market, we're very bullish. Everything is bullish. ETH is bullish, Bitcoin's bullish, XRP even went bullish, which is a big indicator to let people know of. And I'm not a fan of XRP, but XRP is in a great trading spot. I posted that yesterday. It's literally at the exact same entry point as I entered yesterday. I think it's going to actually go higher. I think all the market's going to go higher. And here's the thing. You go into these cycles of, disbelief and hope. And I feel like we're kind of in between those two, or we're in the hope phase right now, where people hope it will go higher or hope it's the bull market. That's kind of where we're at. The disbelief phase of we can't go higher has already happened. I feel like we've already got through that. So now it's okay, if we dump, people will hope that we don't dump too hard, and then we'll go higher, right? And I think we're right at that start of the bull market. And, regardless of what my opinion or anyone else's opinions is, the chart is bullish. So the chart is in a bull market right now. We've had a macro trend reversal. What that means in simple layman's terms is we went from a bearish technical analysis perspective, which means we're under the cloud. We're in a downtrend, and we broke that downtrend, and now we started a new trend going back up. So it's like pulling a slingshot. You pull it so far, it goes only so far down. So if you're doing it like this, it goes only so far down. Eventually, you can't pull it down anymore. It gets stuck, and you have to let go. And it goes and shoots it back up. And not only does it shoot it back up, it shoots higher than the last time. So basically, we're looking for that. We've had that kind of starting, the extension, the pullback, and now we're waiting for the follow through. Once we get the follow through, then you're going to start seeing even more, layer ones, layer twos starting to pop off. We're already kind of seeing that, to be honest, right now. But then you're going to start seeing some mid caps and other coins starting to do well. What you should be looking for, in my opinion, is projects that have fully distributed all their tokens, that have been around for at least one cycle. And that's why I made the list that I did. Because it's literally the most holistic list. When people ask me, how did you make $2 million on Binance in 17 days? And did you buy on leverage or were you spot? Is literally the spot trades that I've been DCAing in are now going to be massively profitable because I planned it out and I didn't just guess and throw money in at different times. I looked at levels and I went, okay, I'm going to buy it here, put 20% in here, 25% in there, 35% in here, and then put the rest of it in at that last low. And then just wait, right? And then you wait. And I told people about Arweave at $4. I was like, this is a really good bear market buy. That was like just over 2 months ago. And now we're like at $7 yesterday. And so it's like, these types of projects are really high chances of going back to their all-time high, or at least mostly almost to their all-time high if they're a good project. So it's really about like setting up yourself for the long term. And right now it's pretty easy to plan out where you want to go because you're not too late. It's just getting started. And if we're going to go to 5 to 7 to $8 trillion market cap for the whole industry, we're at one. There is a ton of money for you guys to capture right now. There's life-changing money coming in, especially with BlackRock, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, and all the banks are even starting to look at crypto. So it's pretty big.
Well, that actually leads me to the next question because I want to get into your history in the space. You've been in the space a long time, and I want to ask you about that. But you just said something that brings into kind of the next question I was wondering is you look at 2017 where we hit the all-time high and then went down, and 2021. Both of these years were after the halving. Halving's coming up in April of next year. Do you think we hit all-time high in 2024 and then in 2020? You know what I mean? It's almost like it's a little different this time because, like you said, we've got the ETF, coming in and whatnot. What are your thoughts on that? People saying all-time high next year, 2025. What do you think?
Well, here's the reality. Halving will happen in probably April or March, depending on all the mining and
yeah.
So you have like 4 or 5 months. Potentially, right? It's not that long. It's really not that long. So when you look at it from that perspective, you have to think, okay, so we have halving coming. Generally, other than COVID year, which was a complete black swan event, we were going sideways and up into COVID, right? Like we were fine. We were like sideways, up, sideways, and all of a sudden COVID came. People were like, and then all of a sudden it dumped super hard because all the markets dumped. Without that happening, every other cycle we go up and sideways and into the halving, and then as halving comes just before and just after you start seeing the S curve, which S curve just basically means it curves up like this in a straight line. And then you see massive growth on the chart, which you've seen if you go back to October 2020 and you go look and then you see March and then you keep going. You can see exactly what happened in the last cycle. I think personally, this cycle we're going to see all-time high in 2024. I think we'll probably see this year, potentially into Christmas time, like 40, 45. That's very possible numbers. Obviously, there's other factors that we have to take in consideration. But honestly, what I've learned in my life, as a good trader, you don't give a shit what the news tells you, what people tell you, what opinions everyone has. All those things actually make you a worse trader. So you look at the chart, you go, this is what I'm seeing. This is telling me all the stuff psychology-wise, all the stuff for buyer and seller-wise, what people actually look at. You can tell if you start reading a chart, you can tell what people are going to do. So instead of worrying about all the news that they fill you up with to make you scared and fearful and emotional, don't listen to all that. Look at like fundamentals. Where are we at? Where were we at last cycle? What's likely going to happen with all these big players coming in? And then add up the risk management there and go, wait a minute, Probably more likely we're going to go up in the next year and a half, then we're going to go down. So we have likely, usually it's like a year, a little bit longer after having in the past that we hit our top and then we come back down. Last cycle was the first cycle where we came down and made a new high. That was an anomaly. Never done that before. We did a double top instead of a blow off top. That could happen again this cycle, possibly. We don't know. But what you do play out for is what happens after halving. So you have a year after halving. Money becomes very easy, probably from around now or in a month or two from now until like literally the top. You'll feel like everything you invest into goes up. But now what you need to look at is what are the tokenomic models? Like if you want to make the most money that you can, if you're here to make money, which most of you are, and then you'll figure out the revolution and all the other stuff later, because that's what happens with newer investors. Come in and make money and then see what it does, then understand the tech, because that's usually what happens. It's one and then the other. But the money is going to be made with tokenomic models that do not have high amounts of inflation. The reason why we're in crypto is because of inflation. So the problem that I see right now is why, if you have this inflated shit coin of the US dollar or Canadian dollar or Great British pound or euro or Thai baht, wherever you live in the world, all your currency just loses value constantly. So why do we even focus on doing projects in a way where we give 5% or 10% TGE, that we inflate, let's say 10% and 10% per month? You're literally inflating the supply by 9x. 900% more tokens. It devalues your currency. So what you guys should start looking for is stuff like Kaspa, fully decentralized layer 1, but literally gave you all your tokens day 1 and then let it go. A0 did all their tokens in 2 months. Look where it's at compared to all the other projects. You want to make more money in this cycle, you got to look for projects that have a lot more tokens on launch. And if you're in a public sale, they're giving you 10% of your tokens. Don't invest in those public sales. They're not good. They're going to screw you. They're going to inflate you. They're going to make you lose money. And if you're retail and you're buying into bad tokenomics, there's all this sell pressure coming from all the VCs, all the KOLs, all the private sale or angel guys, and you're going to get wrecked. So you might as well, just like Lynx did, give all the tokens, let people dump, and guess what happens? When you give all the tokens, generally the price goes up, which is crazy, but it actually works. So, it's like that kind of stuff is really helpful for people at home to start like getting their like ducks in a row and start making a plan for themselves.
So and listen to you. So you've been in this space a while, because what you're saying, I mean, it makes total sense. And there's a lot of new people listen to the podcast and watch it. And I want to, I want them to kind of to hear what you're saying, but also to like just realize how everything is in the space as far as just all the stuff, that happens in crypto and in the history of it. And not to get in the whole history, but I want to ask you, how long have you been in crypto? And do you remember the first time you heard about Bitcoin and what you were doing?
Yeah, it was like, man, first time I heard about Bitcoin, my friends had a computer shop that they worked at. My friends, it was my stepdad's best friend's shop. I got my friend a job there. All of a sudden I walk in the shop and all these computers were on. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, isn't it a repair shop? He's like, yeah, we're not repairing them. We're mining Bitcoin. I was like, this sounds retarded. I literally, the first thing I was like, this sounds retarded. He's like, yeah, basically he explained it to me. He's like, imagine there's only 21 million IPs in the world. And you could only own like, if you own one of them, one of 21 million, you can't make any more, but you have to mine it. And so this is what we're doing. And to me, I was like mining it. Like I remember the game Lemmings when I was in like elementary school where they're like mining. I was like, is that what they're doing? He's like, kind of. And I was like, this sounds like a scam. So that was my first introduction to Bitcoin. The next year I went home to visit from Korea. And I saw Bitcoin stickers somewhere and asked again, what is this? And it still sounded super scammy. And my friends, the first thing they said was, dude, check this out. And he had drugs that he had gotten delivered. He was like, yeah, check this out, this website that you get all the drugs delivered to you. So I was like, oh, that sounds great. It's definitely not something I want to get involved in. I was a teacher, right? So I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I moved to Korea. I moved from Korea to Thailand in 2013 April, and like the first day I'm there, they're talking about Bitcoin. I'm like, okay, teachers are talking about Bitcoin now. I'm like, okay, maybe I should look into this because maybe it is something legit. And then they told me the price of Bitcoin at that time, and it was like 150 something dollars, something around there. And they were like, it's $150. And I remember my friends telling me in like 2011, and I think the price was like a few bucks, like $5, $10, something like that. I can't remember because I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't really care, but I remember it being a lot lower. And I was like, so I called my friends up. I'm like, yo, how much is your Bitcoin worth? They're like, bro, we made so much money. Then I'm like, so how much drugs did you buy? He's like, what asshole? How much drugs are you buying on the Silk Road? And they're like, no comment. I was like,
Yeah,
all right,
right.
cool. But then the teachers were like, yo, a couple of us mine Bitcoin. We have some. Do you want some? And I'm like, I'll give you $500. You give me some Bitcoin. They loaded a Bitcoin Core wallet on my Toshiba laptop. And then I totally forgot about it until 2016. And 2016, they called me like $800 Bitcoin. I was like, what? Like, what the fuck?
Right.
I was like, we made money on this?
Going up.
Yeah, literally, I thought we got scammed because the price went up after I bought it, and then it went right back down. I think it was around or just after Mount Gox, something around there. So I bought like a pretty terrible time, pretty much near a top, and then it went higher, and then it went much lower. Right. So I didn't really pay attention to it. I was going to be a new dad and stuff like that not long after, so I didn't focus. Then obviously all this stuff happens. I get much more into like researching about what crypto was, why we're buying it, and all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, wait a minute. And like I said to other people earlier, is you make money, and then you're like, oh, I'm pretty intrigued by this. Like, what actually have I bought into? Because I was just kind of dabbling. And then it was like, wow, this stuff is revolutionary. Like, start understanding the finance system. And I was teaching business. Then I'm telling my kids in the classroom, like, oh, this Bitcoin stuff is really revolutionary. And like, I have some students that I taught like way back in 2017 that literally started buying Bitcoin, and they still have Bitcoin. So they're like in a really good spot in their life because they were young. And some of them made millions, and wow. That was amazing for them because I taught them the fundamentals of why Bitcoin is so much better than fiat currency. And now, I mean, the last few years, everyone can see it super clearly because everyone understands inflation now. They've seen the prices go astronomically higher. Their food is expensive. Their flights are expensive. Their gas is expensive. Everything's expensive now. But it's just because they printed more money, so your money became less valuable, so you have to pay more. Things still cost money, right? And so understanding that, yeah, so good.
Oh, I said, no, I didn't mean. I was just asking where Coach K came from, because you said you were a teacher. Like, what sort of stuff did you teach, or were you a coach, or what? Like, where did it come from?
I've been coaching sports since I was 16. So I was a high performance athlete in high school. Played American football. I was really good. I was top ranked in my position in all of Ontario. And so I wanted to give back because like so many coaches helped me early on, and so I started coaching my brother's team, and then. Yeah, I just ended up turning to Coach K, and that kind of got like shelled for a long time. And then when I came into crypto, I was just like, I was a cryptocurrency educator. It sounded really shit, to be honest. No one really cares about education. So I was like, what do I need to call myself? I started coaching basketball at school. They were calling me Coach K because Kop Shop's hard for some of the students in Thailand. So they got Coach K. And I was like, that's actually better. So I just was like, I'm going to start calling myself Coach K Crypto. And then I found it all across all the platforms it was available. So I could brand myself around that. And so that's where it kind of started in crypto. And Coach K is a beloved name from the basketball world, Duke and
absolutely.
I figured like it's good to attach yourself with someone else who actually coach. Well, I coach players. I coach players now in finance. Like I still coach people. I still teach. I just don't teach in a classroom where I'm labeled. I can't say things. I can't do things. I don't give a shit about the system. Like I've never been one that fit into the system. If you're someone who's ADHD and was too hyper or whatever, and you didn't fit in the normal system, crypto is literally the system for you. Like it is the calling point because people love when you're creative. People love you trying new things. Everyone wants you to be successful. It's very rare. Like it's very rare you meet people in crypto like, yeah, I want you to fucking fail. Like, and you're a good guy. It's not going to happen. So you have a lot of support. People actually also felt like they were ostracized when they were younger too, or treated not fairly and all that kind of stuff. And so it kind of just built up over time. And now you have like this beautiful ecosystem that you can be in, and you grow from it. Like I remember like having like my first 3K in crypto where I started with, made a little bit of money, lost a little bit of money, and then I put 15K more. I took out money from like something that was earning 5% a year, and I just took out 15K from that, and then I was like, all right, let's play. And ever since then, I've never put another dollar in crypto. So you're talking 18 grand to $40 million. Is very possible for anybody to do, and you could do it now. Like now is the time. If you start. You literally could turn 20K into like $15, $20 million, no problem.
Nice.
Just learning what is valuable in the space is hard. You have to make a lot of mistakes, and everyone will tell you this is a bad project, but you'll believe in it, and it will be a bad project. So it's like really educating yourself so you make the least amount of mistakes, so you have the most amount of success.
So that kind of leads me into the next question, because earlier when I was saying about kind of you're saying how things go and how they are, I was specifically meaning like, we've got a lot of history in space now. I got in 2017, and I feel like I watched some good videos, some bad videos, and whatnot. For somebody coming in now, okay, and they say, look, I want to learn about stuff. Like I'm trying, like there's so much, there's so much stuff online. There's some good, there's some bad. What would you advise a new person that's getting into space now? They're excited about it. They're willing to learn. What are 2 or 3 ways would you say I would look at these, right, to learn about how the markets work, how they perform, right? Crypto in general. What would you tell them?
Well, first read the book, The Bitcoin Standards, so you understand the concept of why Bitcoin exists, and what it does, and what's the point. So understanding the point of Bitcoin will go like, oh, actually this makes a lot of sense. But then once you've done that, you then can go, like I have free explainer videos. I put them on YouTube. If you need to research the people you follow, because most people are just like, oh, this guy's awesome, whatever. And you don't know he's done like 30 scams in the last 5 years, but you never found that person. You never knew them. So it's about finding people that are like consistent with their calls. They're not overly bullish. They're never overly bearish. They're kind of giving you like a balanced approach. There's few of us in the space that do it on Twitter. Most people are way over one side or the other, and it causes people to make a lot of money fast and lose a lot of money fast. And my thing is, I want to make people, help them make money, but then I also teach them the ways to do risk management and capital preservation so they keep the money, because making money is great. If you don't keep it, it's completely useless. So it's about teaching people how to learn how to control their own emotion, how to not be greedy, how to, basically look at the market in a way that it's something that gives and takes. And as long as you're like not greedy about it, you'll make money. But most people are, and that's why 98% of traders lose money. To be in the top 2%, you have to learn yourself, your emotions, and you have to have a strategy where you don't change it every week because it didn't work this one time or 2 times. You actually have to let it lose the 10 times when it loses 10 times to win the 30 times that it wins the 30 times. And you have to understand that it's like going in a casino. If you put all your money in chips on one hand and you lose, you're done. So you have to kind of take that money and spread it out. And, if you're a good blackjack or a poker player, you're going to know how much risk to put in. Like maybe you'll start with a little bit, and you add more as you go. But it's about understanding how to risk manage, and that if I put this money on the table, that's how much I'm going to lose. And if I don't want to lose all this money on the table, I probably shouldn't put it all into one trade. So learning how to do that, where it's like I lose $100, this is how to do position sizing and risk management. I do lots of stuff with my group on that, because once you understand that, you realize like you could lose 50-60% of your trades and still make money if you know how to do risk management properly. And then it doesn't make you emotional when you have losses. So these things are really, really hard to teach. But, I try my best to help people understand that. But learning in this space, getting back to the point, it's something you have to do diligence on the person you're learning from. And basically don't pick too many mentors, because the biggest thing that I did when I first came in was I want to learn from everybody. And most people were full of shit. Like really, they didn't know what they were talking about, and they're wasting your time. Then you have all the traders that you're following that you think they're good traders, but really they're trading on a demo account. They don't actually have real money. And you're following a guy who's like $500 to his name, and you're putting in 10 grand into the trade, and you're like losing money like hand over fist. Or you're following 5 different good traders, but 5 of them have different opinions about the market, and 3 of them are bullish and 2 of them are bearish, but you respect all of them. So how do you know which one to pick? Which strategy works for you? You don't have a strategy, you're following theirs. So I teach people my strategy so they know exactly what I'm talking about. They see it too. And sometimes now in my group, they tell me, hey, you see the Kubo breakout on this one? Have you seen the Kubo breakout retest on this one? Have you seen the edge-to-edge trade coming up on that one? And I'm like, no. They're like, oh, look, it's a Kijin retest trade. Okay, let's go in on that one, right? So it's really like understanding your trading strategy, and mine's very rule based. So I keep it simple as possible for anyone to learn. And then it's just practice, like 10,000 hours in front of the screen. You're going to become a great trader. You're going to see stuff right away. The first month or 2, you're going to be like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try stuff on a demo account, figure it out, learn what I do well, what I don't, and then actually start writing a journal and doing all that. And I do the same thing for my investments. I write down every investment. How did it do? What many X's did it do? What were the problems? How can I help them solve them? Because I also do a ton of advisory because of all this experience I have. I've seen all the mistakes. I see them happening all the time before they even happen. And then I try to help projects deviate from making mistakes that everyone else has already made.
Okay, so one other thing dovetailing into research that I want to ask you about, because having the experience you do in the space, there are tons of alts, right? There are some good, there are some bad, but I don't care what the alt is. If somebody says to you, Coach K, look, I'm looking at alt, what are 2 or 3 things that you want to see in any project that you're going to look at, or even that's going to get you past stage 1, right? Because we all know that, sure, like I like this, I don't like that. What's a couple, 2 or 3 things that you like? This is what I want to see in any alt for me to even go further.
Well, simple as this. Any project, regardless of crypto or not, should solve one of 3 problems. It should make something faster, it should make something cheaper, or it should advance on whatever's already there. So it has to be innovative. Like if it's something that every other project already does, completely fucking useless. If it's another social media coin, another friend tech, probably going to do the same thing as BitClout and Friendtech and all the other ones will do, because they don't have stickiness. There's nothing that people are there for other than a short-term profit. So understanding what's like really solving a problem versus what's out there that's kind of just doing another copy paste on a new chain or whatever that you see everywhere, or doing like another launch pad right now. Like it's freaking ridiculous to do another launch pad now, because there's no point. Like there's 100 launch pads. Why do we need another 100 launch pads, right? And like, yeah, everyone's going to still keep doing them, and it's going to be great, and it'll be good for the bull market, great investments. For the bear market, you're going to lose all your money. They're not going to come back at the same levels they were. And so that is definitely solving problem, making things faster, making things cheaper, making things better than what they are. Like the 3 things that I look for. They don't have to be all 3, but it has to be at least 2 of those 3 to make me kind of look at it and go, oh, that's something like really has staying power and it's going to solve problems for people. And then the last thing is their token model, because I've literally told like 30 projects in the last month or 2, like I will not invest in your project because your token model sucks. I'll invest in your, like when you launch, I'll buy your token for the pump that you're going to create, because you have 5% of tokens on the market and everyone's going to pump it because all the new people come in and buy it on 5% TGEs, and it's going to pump 30, 40, 50, 100x. So I'll come in at like 20x, get a 5x out of that or 3x, you know, and I'll sell my tokens and I'll have 100% of my liquidity not trapped into your guys' project for like the next 2 to 3 years. Which is, I already know is going to go pretty much to 0. So what's the point of even trying to do that? So I started kind of like, you know, pushing projects to do that. And like at Satoshi Roundtable this year, I fully expect to give a roundtable on that subject exactly.
Okay. So speaking of alts, I'm going to ask you something. I mean, you don't have a crystal ball that I know of. Maybe you do. But 17, we had where the alts, you know, had their highs. And when you look at 2021, do you want to go out there now? Now we are what? We're at the 7th of November, 2023. Do you want to try and pick a ballpark? And I'm not going to say, you know, exact month, but a quarter, or maybe I'll say exact month, when we could see the first high of the next alt season. I mean, that's kind of a hard question, but, you know, I don't know. I mean, you want to take a stab at that? Predictions,
not too sure exactly. I would say that the alt market's going to definitely come, you know, in the next. It's already here, really. So highs, I don't really know. Like it's hard to say. I would say after Bitcoin's probably going to make its high, like the alts will follow as they've always done. But they'll kind of coincide. They'll both go up together. But the highs for alts will really happen after Bitcoin's topped out. Then usually we have like a 3 or 4 month alt season after Bitcoin tops out, and then we go into the bear market like we did last cycle.
So you're pretty excited for 2024?
Yeah, 2024 is the year that I think we're all going to make a lot of money. My last license plate was 2021. I think 2024 is probably going to be the new one that I'll buy if we see that huge growth.
Nice.
Everyone always asks me about my license plate 2021, and that's why.
Okay.
Just one thing, I have another call coming in. So
okay. I'm my last question for you, because like I said, I've been trying to get you on for a while. You're super busy. I appreciate it.
Sure.
When you're not working, what else you like to do? Like what's the personal stuff you like to do?
I like going on my boat. So today, like a little later on, I'll go on my boat with friends in town. I like water skiing, tubing. I like going and discovering new things. I went bungee jumping with my kids like a few weeks back, 5 weeks ago. So yeah, just doing stuff with the family, doing stuff with my friends, getting people together. I'm really big on like community and connecting with people and just like getting to know everyone. I've met many of the people in my club, even one in Tulum just recently. So yeah, I'm a big fan of like meeting people and connecting with people and having experiences and doing things that like, I never tried before or scare me. So things for personal growth. And yeah, I like being around the community and yeah, just doing my thing, man. I'm the guy, keep active and have lots of friends and stuff. So
Well, you're definitely very accessible. I appreciate it. How do people find you? They want to locate you. Where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so basically any like literally any social media, Coach K Crypto, all one word. Don't do anything else. Any of the other people are fake. They're not me. So Coach K Crypto on Twitter, on Telegram, on Instagram, on TikTok, like pretty much every platform you can find me is there. I'm not on Snapchat. Someone else used my name on Snapchat, so be very careful to not get scammed on Snapchat because I'm not there. I might go there in the future, but it won't be just Coach K Crypto, all one word.
Well, look, I want to appreciate you coming on. I always say that everybody's most valuable asset is their time. You gave me your time. I appreciate it. Coach K Crypto, thank you so much for being on the Big Dawg Crypto podcast.
Thanks, brother. We'll do it again in the future for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks.
You've been listening to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Follow on Twitter at WoofBigDawg. Woof, Big DAWG. And run faster than the competition. Woof, woof.